What's going on, everyone? It's Mike, it's Millsy back again, and this is your match preview. It's Wolves against Everton, Molineux Carabao Cup. Millsy, let's get back to winning ways, eh? Back to winning ways?
Yeah, I think so. What I would like to say is the intro that you do there, or the video, I love the bit of John just necking his pint. It's just fantastic. Just sums John up. John's a superb lad, and it just sums him up. He'll never leave the dregs of his pint. He'll always finish that before he walks the match. I love that. I love that. Yeah, look, I know we're going to go into the details of how we shape up and line up, but I think it's for a number of reasons, it's a really good chance for us to get back to winning ways. First being that you don't want to go on a bit of a run now. I think a victory, not having a victory on Tuesday tends to then creep into, oh God, was that a bit of a false start? Let's not go down that road. Let's just get on with it. And it's also a chance to progress in a cup competition. And you've got that many teams now in Europe, in the Premier League, who are probably teams who wouldn't usually cast this aside will probably be cast on this aside. So I think it's a really good chance for Everton to, for a number of reasons, put on a strong performance on Tuesday night. And yeah, couldn't put it better, mate. Back to winning ways, please.
Yeah, spot on. And look, we've already beaten them once at Molineux. I wasn't particularly concerned when the draw come out. Everton play quite well away from home under David Moyes, to be fair, so I'm not concerned. And look, from my perspective, I think he goes with a strong team. I don't know about you, Millsy. The only person that I think is an absolute change from Saturday to Tuesday, I suspect he starts Tierno Barra personally. But what about you? What do you think?
No, I think he starts better. I think that's because of the result this season already. Where Beto had a good game and he scored a goal. I know we spoke on the last video, the debrief about Beto not performing well at Anfield and maybe not being the answer, but he does tend to do okay against the lower half of the Premier League side. He does tend to give them a bit of a game. So I think Beto starts me. I would like to see a number of changes. This is not a game I would like to see us make. I would even like to see us make two changes, to be honest. I think if he does one change somewhere on the pitch, okay. And I actually think that's what he would do. I could see him somehow getting Charlie Alcaraz into the team on Tuesday. Now, who for, I don't know. Now whether that's that you move James Garner to left back because Mikalenko is still recovering and that opens a space, or whether you do give an Enzai a little bit of a break, knowing that he's on the bench should it be needed. But I wouldn't like to see a number of changes. Are you the same in that respect?
I am. I would like to see Charlie Alcaraz get a game. Because when I've seen him this season, I think he's played well. So I think it's more he's been relatively unlucky, if I'm being honest, because I've been quite happy with what I've seen. Certainly when he's coming as a sub, and I know it's Mansfield, but I thought he played really well against Mansfield as well. So yeah, I think for me, I think I would give Idrissa Gana Guy a rest. I think when I look at that Wolves team, I've got to be honest. Obviously, I have fans. I have friends. I have fans as well. Maybe
only fans, is that right?
Yeah, I do have only fans. Yeah, selfie pictures. I've got friends who support Wolves, and I've made it crystal clear that I think they're going down. And I think they're going down without a whimper. I think they're a poor football team. And I've literally been sitting here waiting for Vitor Pereira to absolutely implode under their feet. And I don't think it's a million miles away based on that performance yesterday against Leeds. So, look, when I look at that game, I think they're going to struggle. I think you can probably get away with leaving James Garner in the midfield and putting Alcaraz alongside him, playing as like a 6 or an 8. I think you could also argue with with Dewsbury Hall coming out the side, not because he's played poorly, not because of anything, but just to give one of them, rotate one of them. I do think you could argue that Grealish could have a game chilling out for a bit. He's played a lot of football relatively quickly. Enjoy going back on the left, Tyler Dibbling on the right. But look, I do agree with what you're saying. I don't necessarily make any more than 3 changes, but I do think you can't play the same 11 every single week. It'll kill them. It'll burn them out. So we've got options, and I kind of feel like we should use them against teams that I feel like we should be getting a result out of, if you get what I mean.
No, and I get that train of thought. Now, what I don't want to see is the goalkeeper being rotated, and I particularly don't want to start seeing, okay, you drop one of the centre halves because you want to bring another right back in, and you start really tinkering with things. Mansfield at home, I'm okay with Travers playing. I'm usually always okay because I love the bones of him with Seamus Coleman playing. But I just think the way we've played this season, and I include the second half of the Merseyside derby, that has been so good that you almost don't want to upset it too much. I think it's a feat, and then if you change 3 or 4 and things don't go to plan, and then you change 3 or 4 again for Monday, you're casting those 3 or 4 aside then and saying, well, you're really not going to get a look in now. So I think we're strong enough to make our change. I said I wouldn't even make 2 changes. I wouldn't. If there was 2 changes, it wouldn't be the end of the world, depending on the personnel. But I'm more than happy as a supporter for Dibbling, Alcaraz, Barry to have to wait to get in this Everton team. How long has it been since we've been in a position where we've gone, you know what? There's nothing wrong with our first 11. Now, the Ghana guy one's an interesting one because of his age and the amount of games he's probably having to have recovery sessions on and stuff, and maybe this is a week where he probably might not play. But I think if that's the case, I think he'd bring in, if he's fit again, Mail and Roll, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean that's another one that, to be honest, I completely forgot about. And that's the thing. Like you've just hit the nail on the head. But there's so many options. There's so many options. I think this one's a difficult game in that sense to call a starting lineup. But look, I actually, I mean, I'm gonna stick it on the line, and I'm gonna go with my starting 11. It's up to you whether you've got one to hand.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I'm gonna go with. I am actually gonna go Travers in goal, Mikalenko at left back. I think he probably does go with the 2 centre halves still, Keane, Tarkowski, and I think he does keep Jake O'Brien at right back. I do go with Alcaraz and James Garner in those 6 to 8 position. I'll go with Lilliman and Jai. I'll go with Dewsbury Hall. I'll go with Tyler Dibbling, and up front I'll go Barry. I just think, right, and I'll be honest, and he sounds awful. I almost shouldn't say what I'm about to say, but that team's more than good enough to beat Wolves. It's more than good enough to beat Wolves. It's rotated. It gives players a rest. It gives Grealish the opportunity to sit on the bench and chill out, relax, because he's played 4.5 games of football this season so far. When he didn't play at all for Man City pretty much after March, February. I get he's fit and I get he's great and all of those things, but it does catch up. And I think the same with Ghana. So yeah, for me, those 2 come out for definite, and yeah, they're the changes for me personally.
Okay, I would start Grealish.
Okay.
I'm not against what you've said there, but I'm more, can we just bring him off for 70? At 70, sorry, and can he do the warm down with the substitutions, and can he sort of have his flip-flops on the bench for the last 20 minutes and so, and we give him a break there. I'd start him, and the only tactical, I would start Beto as well, sorry, but the only tactical change I would do from your 11 would be, I'd actually bring Keane and Dewsbury Hall a bit further back and play Alcaraz as the 10. with the view that you can also interchange those players in game if things aren't working. I would like to see Keenan Dewsbury-Hall play as an 8, and I think this is a game where you can have a look at that. Usually it's pre-season, but we got our signings in really late where we couldn't really experiment. But I think there's enough about Dewsbury-Hall that he could play a little bit deeper and offer us a really good option in that pitch. And I think Alcaraz has done enough for me as the 10 when I've seen him. That would be the only change I would make. It's disappointing. We're sort of managing Idrissa Gana Gueye as supporters now, based on his age, and we want him fit all season. And we're now having in these shows to manage his minutes. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see Idrissa Gana Gueye come out. But I would, other than that, I would keep everything as we've seen it.
From what you've seen of Wolves,
I'm gonna jinx it. I know I am. I've not seen nothing from them, and we'll become a meme now because we're both saying that this is going to be all good, and I've not seen it. But I haven't. It's a manager who across Europe in his career has panicked and been sacked. Like when teams go for these managers, I think, what the hell is it? Like, are you friends or do you owe money, or did his dad teach you in school or something? Do you owe this guy a favour? Because this is a bit of a journeyman manager who just has been sacked across a number of clubs, and I think he had a decent spell over a decade ago. It was with Porto, I think, and they've lost big players. And I think they're now on the cusp, based on what I've seen on social media. I think they're now on the cusp of the crowd turning, and we've been there a number of times, mate. That's not nice. You know, you've got a manager you don't like and a team you don't believe in, and you're angry in the stands. Nothing good comes of that. So, I've got no loyalty to them. I don't feel sorry for them as such, but I know where they are as a fan base. It's not nice, and we just have to look after ourselves and go there and put 3 goals past them and get home into the next rounds.
Yeah, spot on. And I think look, many people looked at the first Wolves game. Certainly not Everton fans, but lots of people looked at that Wolves game. They went, well, you let in 2 goals. They could have had a penalty. All this rubbish. And we mentioned this a few times on this channel. But there was only one team that was ever going to win that game. I actually think Everton learned from that Wolves game, and since then they've been defensively better. Because the Wolves game, from my opinion, was actually our worst defensive performance of the season. We let 2 poor goals, balls coming into our box, and I think Moyes would have addressed that threat. You are right; they've lost out Nori, they lost Cunha. Yeah. And those 2 players from an attacking threat perspective were huge for Wolves. Now, look, they invested a little bit of money and all of those things, but the Fosun group and everything around Wolves, I just think they're in a really bad place. And, you know, there's thousands upon thousands of tickets available on the Wolves website currently. There's literally, you know, Everton fans will be the team that's heard there, because Wolves, unfortunately for them, but they're in a really bad position, and we've been there. You're right, but I think Everton just got to go there, be professional, and look. I'll give you my score prediction now. I'll go Everton 2-0. Goals from. I'm going to go with the man that we keep calling for, but I'm going to go with a goal from Charlie Alcaraz. And do you know what? Because I've put Barry in my team, I'm gonna go with him getting his first goal in this game. I'm gonna go with a 2-0 Everton win with goals from Alcaraz and Barry.
Couldn't raise you.
I would love that.
3-0. I think. Look, I don't want to. If we make 8 changes, then that would change. My opinion would then change. But based on what we spoke about with the team, me and Michael sort of agreed on what the team should look like, and that's what I'm assessing it on. I think Wolves are forced to make changes because they're now looking at who they're playing at the weekend is huge, and this is now probably a bit of a distraction that he doesn't want. So I think he maybe takes a couple of his certain starters out. Yeah, and I think as long as we don't, I think it's routine. I think we have pushed away from the group now that Wolves are in, and as long as nothing goes wrong with cards or injuries, then Beto scores, Charlie Alcaraz scores, and his first Everton goal comes on Tuesday for Jack Grealish.
Oh, no, that would be immense. Right, well, look, I have got very little else to add. That is your match preview. It's very short. There will be the match reaction after the game. I'm actually potentially going in the correct end as well. By the way, I mean like that doesn't when we play Villa at their place and Wolves at their place and Midlands teams. If I can't get in the away end, I do tend to sit in the home end and just be quiet and all of those things. But no, I might actually be in the away end with the fellow Blues.
So before the game, just so anyone who's going to the game knows this, where will you be based? Where will you be selling your signed photos from? Where will you be taking selfies? Whereabout will you be?
To be honest, as far away from the home fans as possible, because if that happens and they see me walk into a turnstile, I'm going to get lynched. So, look, if you do see me, I actually said this last time. If you do see me and I'm in the home end, don't make it obvious, because that did happen at Forest last season when we scored in the last minute, and I had to run out of the ground.
What's it like, Michael? This could be. I know you sometimes do this, but obviously we all know you're from that part of the country. Where can Evertonians do travelling down, get a pint and stuff on Tuesday? Do you want to give some advice on where people can go? Because I've been to Wolves and it's been moody. It's a bit of a moody fan base.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, Matt. I don't know, because although Wolves is relatively close, it's still 20 miles away. So I can't pretend to know Wolves particularly well. But yeah, look, I don't know. I mean, if I was an Everton fan, I'd get a crate of 10 beers, 12 beers, 24 beers, and I'd drink them on the coach before the game and get a couple in the stadium. That'd be me personally. I wouldn't bother with a pub. And a Tuesday night, just drink it on the way down and sober up on the way home after we've smashed it.
So there's no Tuesday afternoon lap dances that are opening in Wolverhampton that you can recommend. I mean, the Tuesday afternoon shift and lap dances would be rough, to be honest.
I wouldn't even know, my friend. I wouldn't even know. I'm solely Birmingham, so it's too far.
So in Birmingham, in Brum, what's the Tuesday afternoon lap dance shift like in Brum?
Spearmint Rhino, my friend. That's where you get yourself. Spearmint Rhino, you there. That's it. That's it. Mills's face. He knows it. He's done the corporate there. He has. He knows
I've got those little emoji eyes with the love heart in at the minute.
There's lots of things you've got little as well. Don't you worry about it.
Absolutely. I'm just thinking of Big Denise on a Tuesday in Brum.
Brilliant. That's tremendous. Right. Absolutely brilliant. Guys, look, hit the like and subscribe. Make sure you go over to Mills's channel Across the Park podcast as well. Obviously, the sponsors are there, Match Bingo and Flyers. Match Bingo is BBN for 200% additional deposit on top of whatever you put in. And Flyers, of course, we will be there on Monday night for West Ham against Everton as well. Apart from that, I've got nothing else, Mills. You got anything to add?
We're up for the league and we're up for the cup, up the toffees.
Everton's on the up and up, baby. See you soon. Peace.